the AI. And then from a business standpoint, just looking at where we are in my organization, there's an expectation, absolutely, just to echo some of the sentiment of some of the other presenters, there's an expectation that employers are going to be able to use these tools. So being able to instill appropriate uses of the tools in our students is really important for them after life at the university. You can go to the next slide. So I've introduced a new model of learning and assessment that I tested the last couple of semesters and have kind of refined with my students. And again, being very transparent with my students about the fact that these tools are new. We're learning about how to use them in coursework together. But my goal was really to use products like ChatGPT and Gemini and Claude to support active learning and authentic assessment. Also encourage prompt literacy, which we heard a little bit about already today. Critical thinking, which again, that piece is really important. So we have to figure out how do we incorporate these tools, but also get our students to critical thinking. And also real world application to really understand that students know how to generalize what they're learning into life outside of learning. And so what we've come up with is also another sort of flipped mode of instruction where I give students access to resources like, say, a chapter in a book or some kind of learning materials outside of the class, which they're instructed to do as a pre-read. And then inside of the class, we engage with a chat, whether it's ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude or some model, to engage in dialogue with the students, reflect, and they submit their transcript to me as their learning assessment. So you can skip to the next one. So here's sort of the model in just 5 steps. The first thing is to upload the course material to ChatGPT. So this is after they've done the pre-learning. They're coming to class. We upload our course material. One really important note here is if we're using a textbook or something, we obviously have to get permission to use the course material in chat. But we upload the course material into ChatGPT, and then our students are directed to go through a comprehension through dialogue practice with ChatGPT. So we give a couple of sample prompts for what students want to do in order to sort of clarify their understanding of key concepts in the chapter. And then they're instructed to come up with their own questions so that we know that they are interrogating the materials as well. Then they take it a step deeper. We give another layer of sort of prompts that we're going to have them interrogate from a deeper level of understanding. So I'll give you an example of what this looks like in the example assignment on the next slide. But following the deeper understanding, we have an AI-assisted application of the learning. So this is where we ask ChatGPT or whatever model we're using to give a real-world scenario for the student to respond to so that they have an opportunity to try to apply the learning. And then at the end, they submit that dialogue, the conversation that they've had with ChatGPT for grading. And they also submit a reflection about what prompts were most useful, what did they sort of get out of the activity to help them really refine their prompt engineering as well. And you can go to the next slide. So here I just included an example lesson guide. I'm only going to point to a couple things because I know we only have 10 minutes together. But obviously you see learning objectives here. You'll see under the step-by-step instructions and step 2, learning through prompting, I give 2 examples of the kinds of prompts that I want my students to come up with in this kind of assessment, but they have to come up with substantive questions of their own in each of those pieces of the assignment as well. So for example, one of the sort of general learning questions, and this is about a chapter of working with clients from a consumer insights class. So one of the general questions is like, what makes a good first impression when working with a new client? And then that deeper layer of understanding is, can you give me a real world example of mismanaging a request for proposal? So you have you're starting kind of broad with key concepts, and then you're going a lot deeper to really encourage students to get to that level of critical thinking that you want to see from them. Then we have the application challenge, where we ask ChatGPT to generate real world scenarios or application requests, and students engage with that. And then of course they submit and we give a little prompt for reflection. You can go to the next one. Okay, so here I have a video just so you can see kind of what this looks like. Can you actually pause this video really quickly? Thank you. I just wanted to point out a couple of things that I teach my students with respect to prompting, because we know from research that there are some really important things about prompting that students don't really know unless we teach them. So I'm just going to read the prompts to you that I used for this exercise. You can see that I've attached the textbook in this prompt. I'm the world's most curious and thoughtful student, learning about consumer insights and branding. I'm uploading my textbook here so that you can see exactly what I'm studying, and we can work together to enhance my critical thinking and understanding of the coursework. Today, I'd like for you to help me explore Chapter 2. Please summarize the main takeaways from the chapter. So the reason that I say I'm the world's most curious and thoughtful student isn't just to be playful, but it's actually because we know from research that if you tell ChatGPT or if you tell these models that it's the best or like most insightful at something, it will actually give you better responses. And so one of the things that I encourage my students to do is to figure out what those aspirational words are for their own learning, and then to call themselves the best at that thing. So that not only is it anchoring in for ChatGPT to give it a better response, but it's also really allowing our students to anchor in what's aspirational about their own learning journey and start to kind of bring that to life for themselves. The second thing that I encourage my students to do is to give ChatGPT some context about the intention for the assignment. So here you see I'm studying, and I'm attaching my textbook here so you can see exactly what I'm studying, and we can work together to enhance my critical thinking and understanding of the coursework. The reason that I have that piece of it is not only to direct ChatGPT or whatever model we're using in the way that it engages with the student, but also to anchor the student in what the learning objective is. Like, we're really trying to get them to focus on their critical thinking and understanding here. And then you can just actually go ahead and skip over this. I know we don't have a lot of time, but I'll make this available to everybody if you want to look at it. And then I just incorporated or included here a general rubric for how I think about grading. Obviously, you could take this, make it your own, and be a little bit more intentional about what success looks like for each one of these categories. But this is kind of what I'm thinking about when I'm looking at these kinds of assignments and wanting to grade on each one of these sort of categories. And that's everything I have.
Okay, great. So we have 10 minutes for question and answer, and I will have to stop you after 10 minutes because we have another group starting right at 3 or 2, whatever time, yeah, 2 o'clock. So we have Troy, Roberto, Lisa, Tina, and Amrita.
Yeah, so my question is about using